One of the most popular talking points for Milei in his campaign was that he was going to abolish the central bank. Can they dollarize without a central bank?
Yes. Hong Kong doesn't have a central bank.
Hmm.
Ecuador doesn't have a central bank anymore, effectively. I mean, the central bank, that was the original idea, is to convert the central bank into purely a lender of last resort. But of course, they put lots of restrictions because the lender of last resort can compromise the exchange rate regime, which it ultimately did later. People say, oh, it didn't work because of the trade. No, it didn't work because the government, under Dualdi, et cetera, decided they wanted to borrow a lot of money to spend. And so they diluted the quality of the dollar assets by sticking in Argentine government dollar denominated assets and selling the actual US treasuries and so forth. So the true backing went down and the amount of monetary base creation was quite high. And that's what undid it. Plus, the government came in and decapitalized the banking system through the pacification process. So, the thing is, do they have the willingness to stick to it? And what really is amazing is Ecuador, right? I mean, doesn't seem like there's any push to go off the dollar. And at the time, Rafael Correa he ran his campaign for presidency on de-dollarizing, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, I saw a stat the other day that relative to a minimum wage salary, Ecuador has the cheapest housing market per square meter in Latin America. It's dollarized. So who would have thought that the cheapest real estate is dollar based in Latin America?
It's also shown that if you have a credible fixed exchange rate regime, relative prices will change, as we saw during the gold exchange standard, et cetera, until the Great Depression. And it's still arguable why everyone went off gold in the Great Depression. They wanted to use the exchange rate to stimulate it. But it works if they want to do it. The conditions under it working, however, are quite constrained. You have to have serious fiscal prudence. You have to run large primary surpluses. You have to be able to finance a good portion of the interest on it. And then you have to hope that you can roll over debt coming due. And typically that goes along with dollarization. The credibility of the system is quite high. Also, this was pointed out by another paper that I read, and this is right. You don't have a lot of dollars to dollarize. If you dollarize the assets and liabilities of the banks, you don't need dollars. Then that's how when they when Brazil did some, similar to the Bonex plan, they did the Polar plan, but they took a haircut on the assets and the liabilities. So the banks were okay, unlike in the pacification side. So they can convert their assets and liabilities to be denominated in dollars. And then the question is, what will people do? I think, we've seen many times this exercise, not that many times, 4 times, where people, confidence grows and people bring their money back.
Yep.
And that's the bet that Milei is making. But again, the fiscal side is all important and people have to believe it.